Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to another edition of South Wales Ghost Watch. And on my show today we've got a very special guest, Geraint Hopkins.
Correct.
Who's founder of Ghost Hunters Wales.
Ghost Watch Wales.
Ghost Watch Wales, I do apologise.
Correct.
And I've got a few questions to ask you, Geraint. The first
problem.
one is, where did your interest in the paranormal come from?
Right. It started years ago. My mother died when I was 14, and she had, I believe now, psychic ability. The day she died, something strange happened. I started seeing things, and that's how it started. I started going into the, if I can see things, I could see things. And basically my mates, we go on bike. And never forget this, we go on the hill on a push bike one day, 10 of us. Next thing, I seen this man across the road, so I pulled the brakes, they all fall over me.
Yeah, that's what you do that, yeah.
I thought, oh, we didn't see anything. So I looked into it, and that's how it started, basically, doing the paranormal.
Okay, fantastic.
That's when the interest started.
Yeah. So when and why did you set up Ghost Watch Wales? What inspired you to set it up?
My interest in the paranormal, really interested in the paranormal. It's, as I said, I started when I was 14. But then, of course, you're young then, you don't think of starting a ghost group up there. Back in the late 80s, early 80s, I thought, right, should we start taking people on ghost hunts? And it started off because I raised a lot of money for charity. I raised over £1 million.
Oh,
So I decided, right, how can I do this now? I thought, I know, we do charity ghost hunts. And that's how it started, and then Ghost Watch Wales was formed over that then.
okay, fantastic. So what was your first haunted location?
Llancairn was the second. The first one was Skur House, Port Hall.
Oh yes, right, okay, yeah.
Now, I was a bit nervous going at first because I'd heard stories of phantom funerals and luminous stones being seen on the beach. Well, we worked out that the stones actually were just normal stones that had phosphorus in them, right? But the first time we went in there, it was pretty spooky. It was a Halloween night, and we were walking down the beach. We'd gone down the beach for a walk, and a strange thing happened. As we were walking on the beach, if you can imagine how Skur House is behind Skur Point, and you can actually see Port Talbot from there. You can see the lights of the sea. So it lights all the sand dunes up, and we saw these people walking on sand dunes, and I thought, oh, those idiots, dressed in Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And my mate said, one of them carrying a trumpet, and the other was carrying a lamp. I said, well, come on, we'll go over now and have a word or something.
Yeah.
And then as we were walking over, I realised that you can't walk straight on sand dunes.
No.
It's up and down.
Of course, yeah.
So that we stopped in our tracks, and we thought, hang on a minute. But anyway, we thought, we'll go over. And it just vanished. And then I was talking to an old, he's an 80-year-old man living in Nottage, and he said, oh, I tell you what you've seen. He said, no joke, he said, you have seen the reenactment of the men that used to pillage the ships in Skur Point. They used to lower the ships in with a lantern and then shoot the people and rob the ship.
My gosh.
So the trumpet you said you saw probably was a blunderbuss gun, he said. That was the first time.
Yeah, but then they vanished.
They vanished. So we went, I think we were going nearly every 2 weeks there in the end, right? And on the third time or the fourth time we went there is when my mate was walking on the beach and coming back from the beach, and these two fishermen come towards him now in the old sou'westers, but they were luminous, and he thought, what, a fisherman? But they wouldn't. They were insisted on staying on that track. So, it was like residual. They weren't going to go off. They were going to walk. It was a path they walked on. So my mate turned on and got them and passed, and he looked around, and they were ignorant, and they got. So he ran back into Skur House, and we stayed in there all night. But then we seen several things in Skur House we couldn't explain.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff we couldn't explain. The thing we couldn't explain is everybody told me that they'd seen this beam of light coming through, and it would only happen on certain occasions. They could go there 5 or 6 times a year. And then I worked it out. It was the moon coming over a certain way and shooting a beam through a hole in the roof. So look, and that's not that. But I can assure you that she is there, the maid of Skur. We've seen on several occasions, we saw on the stairs. At one time, 20 of us saw her. A quick glimpse, but coming down the stairs. But
Yeah.
if you know the story, she was actually chained upstairs, you see.
Oh, I don't know the story, but I'll certainly have to...
Well, the maid of Skur, she wanted to run away with, I think it was the local, or somebody working with the father. I believe he was, I'm not sure what his job was, but anyway, his father being a gentry, he wasn't going to have none of this, so he apparently tied her up in her room, and her room is still there.
Yeah.
And that's the story about the maid of Sker. She's been seen loads of times. People have seen it in the windows, the screaming in the night. We used to use old tape recorders then. We did have some strange noises coming from her room, as if somebody was, crying. But loads of people actually saw her when and I went there about 30, 40 times. But then the house was taken over by the Talbot Council, or was it Bridgend Council took it over?
Yeah.
And then it was sold to this new person. So I went back for a visit there, and I didn't really know where I was when walking through the house, to be honest with you. It was a totally different building. They'd done it all out, and the ballroom had been done out. And on my website, if you look on my website, you'll see a photo with some orange tape in, and you'll see a head and shoulders coming up to the floor. Now I couldn't figure this out, and this was taken with the old type cameras. But apparently the owner told me that there was a staircase there, so she's coming up the stairs. But I actually interviewed a lot of people that lived nearby that they said they'd actually seen her. I said, well, you drunk at the time? No, we were sober as judges, we go fishing. And those people have seen stuff in Sker Point. So it's not only the house, the actual Sker Point is haunted as well.
Fascinating. I mean, I could tell you a few paranormal experiences I've had myself with South Wales Ghost Watch. One of them, well, this is from years back. This is before I South Wales Ghost Watch. This is when I was about 9 years old. And I was staying at my grandparents' house, because I stayed there every Friday and Saturday back then, back in mid to late 90s, 94, 95.
Yeah.
And I was staying at my grandpa's house. This was about 3 years after my nan died. And I remember, it was quite disturbing. Because, well, my nan died in 94, and this was a month before my grandpa died. My grandpa died in 97. And I distinctly remember seeing the ghost of my dead nan. It was in the hallway of my grandpa's house, and I could see her through the glass in the front door. Now the front door glass is see-through, so you can actually see through it.
Right.
Now the parlour is right next to the hall, where I could actually see her through the glass window. And I went down the parlour window to look, because if you go through the parlour you can see her through the front door. But when I went to look through the window, she'd gone. She'd completely vanished, and she was there a split second ago, and
Was it after your grandfather died or before?
It was a month before my grandpa died.
Right, so she came back.
So I don't know if she came back to warn me that something was going to happen.
Two gentlemen told me a story, which is really interesting. They live in Llanelli, they're both professional men, and they both went on holiday together because they're married to two sisters.
Yeah.
So they were on holiday, right? And on holiday they were in, I think, Ibiza, and at 2:45 in the morning, one of them woke up to see his mother-in-law in the bedroom. What a terrible thing to see in the morning, isn't it? saw his mother-in-law standing in the bedroom, right? In the hotel for a split second again, and gone. So he thought, I'm dreaming, he went back to sleep. Well, in the morning when he went over for breakfast, his brother told him, you don't believe this, he said, what? I saw our mother-in-law last night. Where? In my bedroom. What time? About 3 o'clock, he said. They had a phone call 10 minutes later. She passed away at 2:30.
Gosh.
So they both saw on separate occasions.
Yeah.
Just after she died, so she can say goodbye to her. That is strange. I mean, I've had loads, I've had loads of stuff like that. People have told me stories like that, There's a good one, I'll tell you this quick now. In Pembrey Country Park, I do a lot of paranormal investigating. I did most haunted from Pembrey Country Park.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in Llanelli, he feeds the foxes down there. Now, in Llanelli we have a lot, I suppose you've got, Port Talbot, you've got foxes that they come in and out of the towns, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, in Llanelli you can actually go and feed some of them. If they know you, they'll come and take food off you. And he's been doing this for about 4 years down on the beach down in Pembrey. He was there on this particular night, and he said if any human being would come near him, the foxes will run away. On this particular night, he saw two gentlemen walking towards the sea. Dressed, he said, they looked like Jews, with the beard, and the foxes didn't move. So he looked again, and as they were walking, they sort of faded, and then eventually there was nothing there. So, and that only happened last Christmas. But he refused to go and talk about it to me with the papers, because it would have been a heck of a story, because it is very haunted in Pembrey.
Right, okay. I have to look that place up myself, and we'll have to investigate that.
It is quite good. The woods are the best, because there used to be the hatchetmen there. They used to do with the ships in.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so what was your first night in Margam Castle like?
Margam Castle?
Yes.
Right, now then. I went up to Margam, I spoke to the manager, and I told him as was. They also know me as a snake man because also I have snakes, you see?
Yeah.
And I do my shows in Margam as well as doing the
Very
ghost.
fond of snakes. I'm terrified of snakes.
Are you?
Oh, absolutely terrified.
Don't come to my
You
house.
brought a snake in here now, and I would absolutely crap myself.
Right.
I'm not going to use any foul language because we're live, but I would absolutely crap myself.
First night, I took this lady with me. She had no psychic ability at all, and I decided now if we're going to do it, we're going to spend the night in Margam Castle. Brilliant. I got the keys, I locked the doors, put the alarms on, I go upstairs. We walk around the house all night. Felt strange things, but bear in mind it was in June, so it wasn't really cold. So we landed up sitting on the stairs, looking straight down the stairs, sat there, nothing was happening. I started nodding off, and I noticed, hang on, it's getting daylight, you know, because it starts getting light, doesn't it, in the summer?
It does, yeah.
Then all of a sudden I went like, I had professional vision first, see? I saw that. And I looked again, and this lady in the period costume was walking towards me, coming down the other set of the stairs.
Yes.
So first thing came to mind now, because I have to look, you have to look into everything. I thought, is it one of the staff dressed up? Are they having a laugh with me? And then I thought, no, they can't be, you fool. You put the alarms on and you're on your own in there, except for this woman. So there was nobody in there with us. So anyway, she came down, I told this woman, look, can you see her? Can you see her? I can't see anybody. She said, I said, look, she's coming down the stairs. Now it looked as if she was floating, but obviously she wasn't floating because there's a carpet there, wouldn't have been a carpet there before. And I think she was actually walking on the stairs, really. But she came around the corner, and as she came around the corner, she went past me, she ignored me totally, and I realised it was Emily Charlotte, because the photo was on the bottom of the stairs, without a hat on her head. So I told her, well, can you see anything? She said, I can't see anything. And as she went past me, I blew steam out, and my hands went numb, as if it was the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Then when she passed the lady, she said, oh my God, I've just walked in the freezer, she said, and she went down the stairs and gone. So it was the first time I ever saw Emily Charlotte. Since then, I've seen her loads of times in Margam Castle.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of time there. I've slept there in the night, obviously. I used to sleep there a long time, years ago. I used to sleep there in the night. And we used to see things all the time.
It was fascinating. I mean, when we went there, we stayed there till about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we saw a lot of orbs, you know, go past and making unusual movements as well, you know. And
well, if you go in the day, you see, it doesn't make any difference really. I think in the night it's quiet, isn't it? And spirits don't like bright light. But in the daytime, you get them around in the daytime. We've had loads of stuff done in the daytime. We've had EDPs with ring of roses on, coming from the nursery.
Yeah.
There are 2 spirits of children. There is also, we believe now that not only have we got Mr. Talbot, I think we've got Theodore Talbot there as well. Because and Captain Fletcher, he loved the house. He didn't want to leave Margam Castle, you see. But we believe he haunts it as well. Also, you've got the gamekeeper, and you've got one of Talbot's old farms, because if you walk the grounds, his tomb is in the ground. The dog's tomb is in the ground. The only other one like that tomb is in Essex, I believe. But if you read what's on the tomb, it sounds as if there's a werewolf buried there. What lies beneath dirty fur? But it's just a dog. And loads of people have come and told me they've seen the dog there. But of course, then you have the gamekeeper who was murdered.
Yes.
Now, I was fortunate enough 2 weeks ago to have a lady come from Scotland who was his great-great-granddaughter.
Okay.
And she wanted to see where he was buried, so we took her to the grave. And the grave is actually in Margam. And we went from there then to the spot where he was murdered, where we think he was murdered, which is right up outside, up the hill, at the top of Margam Mountain. Looking down, she was amazed with it, and she actually gave me a copy of a letter that her granny had from Talbot, saying, from Emily Charlotte, saying that, you know, you can stay as long as you want to in the gamekeeper's lodge. And when she moved back to Scotland, they actually gave her, well, they kept her, they gave her money. So that was amazing. She had her great-great-grandmother's engagement ring. So that was nice. That was. She came back because she wanted to see where. And when I told her, obviously we've seen his ghost. Yeah. Because loads of people have seen him. People get mixed up. You see, people think that he wouldn't be upstairs in the castle. He would be down outside. But he has been seen. And this was by all the staff. We were there one night, right? And we'd done a night there. It was a theme night on the ghost, but it was for children. And all the staff were there. We were sitting down the stairs on, so we seen this figure of a man in a tweed suit and a deerstalker cap on his head walking in, and we thought somebody's in here, and we walked inside and nobody there. But people have actually told me that he's done this to the ladies when they pass. He never carried a gun, so he used to have a stick on him.
Okay.
And the gentleman who murdered him was hung in Swansea jail.
Right.
So he's there. Also, you have a butler. Children that have come on I did with the ghost walk in the day or something, children. They have told me, who's the man in the penguin suit? You have to think about this, it's a butler, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Loads of children and others have seen things there. On my ghost walk there, things have happened, people have run out. But the two children are quite funny because if you look at it, right, we think they're the servants' children, okay? We think they are, right? And I think they must have died when they were young there, because they did years ago, they died of diphtheria and they died different diseases, didn't they? And we believe, well, what they do, they're very naughty, because what they do, they pinch your bottom. And when I do my ghost walk with adults or children, I never tell them what should happen, because you're then putting ideas in their head.
Yeah.
But very, very strange things have happened. I have to take you there to one room where I guarantee you will feel something in there. Right? But what happens is, I remember one day we were taking these children on the ghost walk with the parents, and we had this gentleman with his child, and the lady was not connected to him next to him, but she had a child. And she turned around and slapped him in the face. Well, this is halfway through my ghost walk now. They start swearing at each other. So I said, no, calm down, what's the matter? She said, he pinched my bottom. I said, no, he didn't. So I said, you come and stand by me now. And she then accused me of doing it. But, I mean, the people were all sitting there. I said, no, it's the ghost.
Wondering what's going on, yeah.
And they do, they pinch your bottom. They also, people have had their cold hand, touch their hand when they're walking around there.
I mean, in Llancairfau, I felt the hairs standing on the back of my neck, you know, I felt there was somebody right behind me, you know, and watching.
Well, I can explain that to you.
Standing over me, right behind me.
I can explain that to you. This is what happens, right? We all have an energy field, don't we?
Yes, yeah.
Now, you know when you get the creed, they call it blah. You know, what somebody's walked over a grave, or they call it the creed.
Yeah, like you feel cold.
They're in your energy, they get too close to your energy field, so you know they're standing near you, and that's what that is. And people have actually, loads of people in Margam get it. My wife writes books, and she was in Margam one day sitting down on a PC, and lo and behold, a man looks over his shoulder, and she goes, oh, hello, Mr. Talbot, because we're straight. And she turns round, and he's just gone.
Yeah.
People have seen him there, you know, and people have seen monks, they're obviously down in the chapter house. Because if you ever go to Margam Castle and you look at the graves, have a careful look, they're quite interesting. The graves have actually, or the monks are down the chapter house, some have got a key on it. And that meant that they were the main, that were in charge of stuff. So if you were an important monk, you had a key on your grave after you died, because you were the key holder.
Yeah.
But people have seen monks walking around there. I can remember one day we were doing a big show there was about 400 people in Margam in the summer, and Emily Charlotte's pantry, you ever been in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Where the cafeteria used to be stables, you see. And an unfortunate lad lost his girlfriend and went upstairs and hung himself there. But they've actually seen the bottom half of a woman walking through when they were working there. On this particular day, this woman from England, she was sitting down having tea, and next thing I heard scream, fainted, give her water, what's the matter? I just seen a woman with a mob cap walking through the wall, she said. So lots of stuff have been, and the staff, you know, if you really push them, they will tell you what they've seen there.
Yeah.
But I've got an explanation for what they're seeing is that they actually seen a spirit, but I think it's two things. It could be either they've altered the floor, which then you'd only have the bottom half, or over the years, it's like a battery, spirits fade. Like the battery runs down.
The battery runs down, yeah, exactly.
So, you know, but yeah, there's loads of stuff been seen in Margam Castle. I would reckon, out of all the places I've been, it is the number one place for haunting.
Is it Margam Castle's the number one place that you've been?
I would reckon, yeah. Then I would reckon Llancairfau will come third.
Yes, I can tell you a story about Llancairfau. You know the judge's room at Llancairfau?
Yeah.
We did an experiment with a torch.
Yeah.
You know one of those torches where you tap the back and it comes on?
Like GHI does.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So what we did is we loosened the torch, we put the battery halfway in.
Yeah.
So to turn the torch on, all you'd have to do is literally, with the slightest of touches, tap the back of the torch and come on by itself. We did an experiment in the judge's room where we put the torch on the floor.
Yeah.
And we said, if there's anyone else in this room that would like to make contact with us or give us any sign that you're here, make that torch light up. And lo and behold,
It lit up.
it lit up by itself. And the EMF reader was spiking like mad, honestly. And you felt it. You felt like there was someone else in the room. You felt the presence in there as well. You know.
Well,
And
I
it
find
was
that
fascinating.
with K2 meters, right? You know the K2 ones,
Yeah.
the grey ones, okay. In a certain place we go to Carmarthen,
Yeah.
we've actually had questions and answered to them lighting the lights up. So if you ask them a certain question, and they'll light the whole thing up for you, so you can talk them with that. But there is a lot of stuff in Margam Castle. I think I've covered most of the spirits that they've got for you. But I think also that Captain Fletcher is the one that's been seen most in them, because he loved the place. I mean, Theodore Talbot he was there. What I've had of women is that he actually touches them on the neck. You know, they've been touched on the neck times. I mean, my wife's been locked in there with me. When we used to sleep there, and the alarms would go off for no apparent reason at all in the castle. They do it purposely. We get the duvet pulled off us. Loads of stuff done when we were in there. But people don't realise, you see, that the front of the castle, there used to be a school, is now empty again. That's one of the most haunted parts. But you're not allowed in there. But I've been in there, and when the teachers were working there, they used to tell me, look, you know,
that's a shame, wasn't it?
Theodore Talbot walked in my bedroom last night and spoke to me in bed.
Yeah.
And you know, I thought, well, no, were you dreaming? But then, when they told me what he had on, is what he had on in the photo. I've got a photo of him, and it's exactly what he's wearing. So, you know, could be possible. I've seen him loads of times. I've had strange things happen when we've been in the castle. One thing I've learned is never mess with them, because if you try and laugh and have a joke with them,
you can't antagonize them. No?
They'll have you back. Because years ago in Margam Castle, before anybody did anything with the paranormal, I could have taken it over, but the problem was, if I had taken over the paranormal nights that they do there, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere else. So that's why everybody goes there now, and of course it's a lot of money. They have to pay a lot of money to go there now, don't you?
Yeah, it's expensive.
But I bought the TV there. I got Most Haunted. I bought GHI there. I've done a couple of programs for satellite channels from there. I've done Swansea Sound, a lot of radio programs from there. They've had a lot of publicity. I mean, well, you know, they've had a lot of publicity while I've been taking it over there. But of course now it's a film set.
Yes.
Because it's Da Vinci's Demons. And funny enough, me and my wife were in there, I think it was about a month ago. There was a show on Animal Magic is called. And we had the keys to the castle because we had to check that everything was okay. Because the fire alarms had gone off that day, but there was no fire there. So because the staff go home in the night, they gave me the keys to keep an eye. And there was a very strange feeling upstairs. Not nasty, there's nothing nasty there. It's a nice feeling, but you knew something. Emily Charlotte will give you, if Emily Charlotte is around, you know instantly, because what you get is obviously you know where her room is.
Yeah.
Okay, well she would have moved from there into the next room, which was Mr. Talbot's room. And Talbot died in his bedroom, you see. He died in his bedroom.
What did he die of?
He died of, I think his lungs were full of, I think he had an infection in his lungs and they filled up with water.
Okay.
But Emily Charlotte died childless at 18. So the children have been seen with her, and not her children. And I remember once, I think Sony, you know Sony, the big company?
Yes.
I did a corporate event for Sony there. Unfortunately, most of the people went were Chinese, and they couldn't speak English. So it was a local one. They'd come from China.
It's very hard for you.
Well, no, one of them spoke it, but no, so what happened was, we were all inside. I was on the stairs with one of the Chinese, the bloke who spoke English, and nothing really happened on it because they were taking photos, and you know, they're known for taking photos. And he said, "What's on stairs?" I said, "What's on stairs?" And I said, "Oh, up there." And you could see a mist coming towards you in the shape of a woman. And of course I said, right, don't tell the others, don't tell the others. He's on the radio in Chinese. They all run out, flash, you don't know everywhere, gone. So he was coming up the stairs. Now before if you've been there, you can only go up one side of the stairs.
Yeah, only one side of the stairs.
Now you've done both sides now, because it was in Emily Charlotte's room being done now. It was totally different. But yeah, I think something has happened since they've done it. I think they're sort of pleased in a way, but they're very nosy, because you know, it's like a blind man. If you're blind and you live in your house, you know what everything is. And if you move in there and put something in front of me, he's going to fall over it. So I think now, because they've all done the route to the house, the spirits don't know where they are at the moment there. So they know the old bits, but then, oh, what's this? My room's been done up. So it's quite interesting, you know.
Okay. Well, moving on. How did you get into the media world?
Right, that started back again in the 80s. Because I was only Ghost Club going, I was only Ghost Wales then, back in the 80s, you had a British Ghost club in England, and you had the psychic research, but nobody was actually doing what I was doing. And a TV company approached me and asked me, you know, are you willing to do and the first program I ever did was from Llancairn.
Yeah.
It was a bit, we didn't have the equipment then we had now, but we did the seance, so we did a few other things there, and that's how it started. And then the media, then automatically, then, well, if they wanted anybody, they'd phone me and say, oh, go to Reality, are you going to do this for us?
Yeah, and they were interested in what you were doing, and they snapped you up then.
They snapped me up then on Most Haunted to do, I did on 2, but I got the locations for them as well. So if they wanted any in Wales, they say, look, can you get us a location in Wales? Then it went from Most Haunted, and obviously I got in contact, I got other TV, like HTV did the program on spirits, then we had a different other channels contact me to do programs on spirits. I ended up then working for a Russian TV company.
Okay.
That never came off actually properly. We were contacted by this gentleman from Russia. Turned out that this TV company was run by the KGB.
Oh, right, okay.
And they'd already murdered 2 members of the staff for doing something wrong. They wanted to go to Cairo Castle. So we arranged it, but last moment they pulled out. But I did a program for Japanese TV, done that one, and that was subtitled, wait for it, in Welsh,
Right.
and then in Japanese. So I'm talking Japanese in there.
Okay.
The subtitle.
Yeah, right.
Then I went on GHI, then that's the latest one I did was, no sorry, the latest one I did was for Nat Geo Wild on Ghosts, and they were doing a program on animals as well. It was in Pembrey, that wasn't, I didn't think it was very good. But GHI, in all the programs I've watched, I would reckon GHI the most genuine, because the problem you get is, see, when you watch it on TV,
And that's Ghosts International, isn't it?
that, well,
Yeah.
Barry Fitzgerald is my mate, obviously, we were pals like, and Brandy, we knew most of them, so when they came over here, but I'll be honest, from all the TV programs that I've watched, right, they seem to be the most genuine. What you don't realise is, see, people watch them, they think, oh, they spent a night somewhere, but they don't. They spent a week in Malta, the whole week, and I was with them at all the time when they were filming it, so I would have seen if they'd done anything wrong. So to me, they are quite genuine. Taps, I'm not sure about.
Taps. So what are they, taps?
Well, they're connected to GHI. GHI has actually been on Taps.
Okay.
But it's another paranormal program. I think now it's gone down a bit. It was a big hype on it with all these paranormal programs, but I think a lot of them are made up.
Yeah.
But I can...
So you think Most Haunted is staged? Or do you think
No, I think a lot of things that Most Haunted done was genuine, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
I've been with them and I've actually seen things with them, you know.
Okay.
They never did nothing in front of me.
Okay.
I got to be honest, so I think it was quite good. Honestly.
Yeah.
But GHI are more scientific, aren't they? And it's more interesting being scientific. They do different things. I think Most Haunted were good.
Yeah.
But no, they finished obviously. So you've got GHI in the one. So GHI are the ones that I think in the lineup. I don't see. I haven't watched most of the ones to be honest with you, but I do watch GHI with this one. And the Margaman hasn't been on yet. And it was filmed 2 years ago. But what it is, they're backlogged. But yeah, that's how I got in the media, and the papers were on me, and then I used to get people from America phoning me, and then we got new Yanks who do paranormal investigations, and then we get emails every week from different groups asking us, what's this photo? A lot of them is dust, right? Some of them we can't explain, you know. I mean, but we get stuff sent to us all the time, like, you know, Yona's busy, she's on the internet, she might as well have a bed in there because she's on. That's all we get is people sending us photos. Is this a ghost?
Yeah.
One of the best ones we had.
You say it's not dust.
Well, we try to be a bit more subtle with that. We had. I'm not the Hollanders. We had a photo in Llanelli, a famous photo came out of Llanelli House, and they believe that the spirit of Llanelli House was a lady was standing on the scaffolding because the scaffolding on the house. And we looked at it and we thought, oh, man, I've seen this photo somewhere before. So it went in this bloke sent it in the paper. It was an app. I tell you what it was. I remember her name now. It was The Grudge. It was...
Yeah, The Grudge with the long hair.
Yeah, you put that on the scaffolding and you could see it, like, you know. So I obviously at the start said, I said, no, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
And the gentleman took a photo.
Scary film, wasn't it? You find it scary film?
No, I to be honest, the most disturbing thing I think that's out at the moment is the Human Centipede. Have you seen that?
I haven't actually seen that.
No. Oh, you're gonna. Human Centipede 1 was bad enough.
Bloody, isn't it?
Human Centipede 2 makes the first one look like Andy Pandy.
Yes.
Well, 3 is coming out. It's very disturbing. Not many people can watch it.
Yeah.
I watched it, but obviously you know it's made up, like, don't you?
Yeah. As long as you know it's a film, you're not going to get disturbed by it.
No, I think they spoil it by showing how they make them, see. I don't think they should do that, like. But I can remember, no, I've never been frightened of anything. I tell my team, if I run out, run out. And we've ever only run to one place, and that was Sker House Porthcawl. And that's the only time we ever run out of a building. I've never run out of Margam. I love it in Margam. We go in, we say good morning, for everybody, we walk in there. I think because we knew them there all the time, see, they get used to you. But when you take strangers in, they go, oh, who are these now then? Oh, we don't think you know these. And that's when majority of people who have seen things in Margam are members of the public. For instance, one room downstairs, which is where you can't go in anymore, it's locked. But it used to be the dining room. I don't know if you've ever been in there. There was a big pulpit in there.
No, we didn't go on that.
Right, well, the dining room is known for residual energy. And hundreds of people have told me, when I've been in Margam, the cafeteria, what cafeteria? Well, in that room over there, you can hear dishes and clanging and bells ringing. I said, no, I said it's empty. So there's a lot of people have heard noises in there. But it used to be the dining room, obviously.
We were quite unfortunate when we went there. We didn't hear much, but it's what we saw on camera that was quite interesting with the orbs and stuff, But I think Llancairfowr was where most of the activity that we had, I found,
Well, we had a very strange thing happen. We've got a location where we go to where there used to be a battle, Cromwell's battle, and we've got a parabolic dish, you know what I mean? The big dishes.
Yeah.
And my friend had the headphones on, and he said, God, somebody's just told me to clear off. And he said, no, I didn't. He said, hang on, it's not clear water. So we can work this out, clear water. It turned out that the battalion that fought up there were called Clear Water. And we've had a lot of stuff up there as well. But there's a lot of different, we've got locations obviously we're only allowed to go to. We've got churches, we have churches, we've been in a couple of churches. We've done a few places down here actually, Port Talbot. Where people work. This is in Cardiff, we've been everywhere. But I've got to be honest with you, I think Margam would be my number one.
Margam's your number one.
And then I said Llancairfowr, I said would come third, I would reckon. Only because I haven't spent much time
That's my personal favourite.
Yeah, well, I've spent 2 nights in it over a couple of years, But that was the first thing I ever did for the media, was in Llancairfowr, and then I did Llanelli House then for the media, which has now been done up.
Have you done Skirridin?
I've done Skirridin, Jeff, I know Jeff, the owner of it. I've been a Skirridin a few times. I've also done, I found very interesting, but what happened was I went with another group there to the Ancient Ram. The problem with the Ancient Ram is so much clutter in there because the old man's got motorbikes in there and it's full of, it's a junk paradise, it's rubbish of it, so there's not much room to move about there. But there is definitely something in there. But yeah, the Skirrid is something in there. We've had a few strange things happen in the Skirrid.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, we were in bed upstairs. Have you been ever?
Once, yeah.
Right, we know you've got 4 postal beds upstairs. We were up there. One thing we could, there's a funny thing happened actually. One of the funny things happened. They were all in the condemned cell, which is the toilet now, isn't it? And there was a heck of a vibration. Well, it turned out to be that on that night there was actually a volcanic eruptions in there.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it shook Wales.
Right.
But because it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning, nobody's going to be awake to feel it, but we were awake, and the room started doing this.
Yeah.
My God, was that in there? But yeah, what we see next, right, the ropes hanging? Right, we were upstairs, and we had a camera on the rope, and for some unknown reason, we had interference on the camera, and the rope was moving.
Right.
And you can actually see the rope moving on it. That was definitely something there. Upstairs in the 4 postal bed, when it feels somebody as if they were going to lie next to you. EVP, why is we done much EVP there?
How much EVP there?
Downstairs, a black cat, and he hasn't got a black cat there. I think that's what it is, because we haven't been there that many times. We went in the graveyard, obviously, to the price, the graves, family price and them. But nothing actually happened. We didn't get nothing in the graveyard, but we did have a lot of tweaks on EMF where the rope is. But if you think, see, he's moved the rope. I don't know if you ever looked. Have you looked at the beam? You can see the notches where well, that beam was higher up, you see, but they moved the beam down. But yeah, there was quite a lot. And the attic was quite, we had a lot of EMF readings in that. Very high EMF readings in the attic.
Okay. Do you ever get bad headaches after these investigations?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, what they get is they get chest pains.
Chest pains, yeah.
Right, do you know what it is?
No, what is that?
Well, it's a barometric air pressure.
Yeah.
Spirits change it, so you're in a vacuum. That's what's causing you to have a bad chest.
Okay.
It's the pressure, the barometric air pressure. A lot of paranormal investigators actually use, I can't remember the name of the machine they use now. They use a weather machine when they're doing paranormal investigation. I've never tried it, right?
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, they reckon it's the barometric air pressure, and that what gives you the chest pains.
Oh, so it was the spirits or the ghosts being aggressive with you? Or
No, I don't think so. I never kept, to be honest, people say they get possessed. I'll be honest with you, I've never ever.
Or bad energy, yeah.
Yeah, you can have, obviously you can have bad spirits, obviously in some places, but no, it isn't that bad. I mean, doing it 30 years, you know, I've never seen anybody get possessed unless they've had a couple of drinks in it.
I'm probably an exorcism or something like that.
There was one, I think you can actually pick up on the energies, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, what happened now, we did the Hellwick light show.
Okay.
And that's down in the docks in Swansea.
Oh, right, I've never heard of it.
Right, now they don't allow anybody on it, they will allow you on the day, but we wanted to do a paranormal investigation there, so we used to do in Swansea Museum. I did a program actually from Swansea Museum on the paranormal. But this particular night we asked, could we go in the Hellwick? So we went in the Hellwick, and from the word go, because we knew nothing about the Hellwick obviously, there is not much known about the Hellwick, because although it's a light ship, there is no motor on it. They sort of towed them out to sea. The actual engine works the light. So we went there one day in the daytime, and my wife said as soon as she went over the gangplank to go on the ship, felt the nails were being pulled out. It was very strange. So
Strange feeling, yeah.
the chap we know was in charge said, look, I'm not going to tell you anything, come and do a night there. So we did, we went there for a night, and now the same thing happened. She walked over, she said my nails have been pulled out. Now I took one member of the public on my team, or was it two members of the public, and as soon as we got on the ship, the first thing I was getting in my head was 5, see? Only 5. And I thought what it means. So I asked him, he said, no, I don't tell you anything, just I'll tell you in the night, you tell me what's happening. So only 5 is getting this, and I thought I can't make it up. Anyway, we went up to the wheel room, now, where the captain would have been. Now he did tell us that people have actually seen a bearded man in the wheel room. Okay? Because most captains have got beards, haven't they?
Yeah, of course, yes, yeah.
On this particular night, we took this woman had no paranormal, no psychic ability at all into the wheel room, and all of a sudden she couldn't breathe. She said, I'm drowning.
Right.
So she collapsed. So we had to get her off the ship because she couldn't breathe. She said, I'm taking in water. My lungs are filling with water, she said. So we had to take her home.
Yeah.
Nothing was said. We were down on the second floor now, which is where the engine room is. The third floor, the engine room anyway. And instantly felt we've been choked.
Yeah.
In this particular part of the engine room.
Right.
So he said, right, okay, he's written all this down. Then we went down, we did it, and we went down into the actual chain room where the chains are for the anchors. And all my team, we said all at one go, it wasn't just one saying it, as if our shoulder had been wrenched off.
Right.
We didn't know what that meant.
So
right?
all of you felt something, not just...
Well, I'd be honest, I thought that the chain must have caught somebody and ripped their arm off.
Yeah.
And I thought somebody's hung themselves while we were being choked.
Did you find out what the significance of the 5 was?
Yeah, I'll tell you the whole thing now.
Oh, right, okay, go on.
After we did the investigation, we went in and we had a chat with him, and he said, right, I'll tell you what it is. And we said, you know, my wife said her fingernails have been pulled out. This is this is like strange. The captain of the Hellwick, now there's more than one Hellwick light ship, okay? But the captain of the Hellwick had been out in all weathers, and like most sea captains, they couldn't swim. So when they got the Hellwick in there, and can you imagine where they've been out in the ship now, and he retired. So he decided to come and see the Hellwick in the dock, and he fell in. And they said that they found his fingernails on the wall trying to crawl out, so he drowned.
Gosh.
And that's feeling fingernails they put in. I asked him, I said, somebody's hung themselves, and he said, yeah, there has. He said, one of the crew had cancer, he couldn't handle it, and he threw himself over the engine room. The chain room, he thinks, is somebody lost their shoulder, like I told him.
Yeah, and that's the feeling I would explain, the feeling of the shoulder.
But the 5 was the interesting bit.
Yeah.
He said there was what did you get? I said, well, it sounded as if the captain or somebody was telling me, only 5. And it was like that, only 5. Only 5 or 6 crew were allowed on the ship at the time. There was 9 of us on it.
I see.
So we were overloading the ship.
Right.
The beds, did they? So he said, only 5.
Only 5.
And that was weird.
So they were trying to communicate that with you then, because it was
that's what they were communicating with us, was that.
Right.
The woman, what she was feeling was the captain drowning.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And, you could see she was panicking, and she didn't know a clue, she said, we're just going on the boat. And she wasn't psychic, she wasn't really into the paranormal, she just did it to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And she said, I was terrified, she said, I could feel water, I couldn't breathe, she said, I was breathing in water. So that was odd as well.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I would have one more question to ask you,
right.
Geraint. What was it like to work with Mission Ghost Hunters International?
It was quite good. It was quite amazing. It was easy to work with Barry because we know well. I think it was very interesting because, there was about 10 or 15 of them there, and they're mostly from Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
Now Barry being Irish, so if you ever see it, you'll notice they've subtitled in it. Because Hispanic people over in Los Angeles can't understand Welsh accents. They used to do Barry because he's Irish.
I used to think Americans couldn't understand Welsh accents.
No, they can. Well, it was a bit of fuss with this because people started saying, no, we understand what Geraint's saying. These are Americans saying it now. Why have you subtitled him? But Barry used to be subtitled at one time on it. It was amazing work with them. We enjoyed it. We spent a week with them. We were in Margam, I think 4 or 5 nights with them. But they also went and did Capel Mair up in the hill, you see, the old church. But yeah, it was quite amazing. I took them round to parts of the houses where they couldn't go. And I can remember Brandy saying that she was a bit, felt something strange in that room. My wife did all the cooking for them. She bought them all Welsh food. They don't have cheese in America like we got here, and she made them Welsh cakes. And now she has to send them now and then the recipes. They ask her for the recipes.
Yeah, because they never tasted anything like that before.
No, but they were amazing. The equipment they got is amazing. Now, obviously, what happened then? They were using full spectrum cameras, so they actually presented me with a full spectrum camera.
Oh, okay.
So we've still got it, and we bought our own full spectrums then. Obviously, they're quite expensive, talking £300. So we have now got 9 full spectrums. Yeah, it was very interesting working with them. I mean, the evidence that they put in front of me was not, you could plainly hear that what was being said, on the EVPs. But I also took them around the whole castle, because I told them all about the ghosts basically on it. And that's all my job was on it at the time, was to just give them a history. But they said, if you want to stay with us while we're filming it, we've got no problem with that. So they didn't hide anything, I was there, and it was amazing.
And they were a friendly and dynamic bunch as well, then?
They were going to, I think they're going to come back over here again, I think, because they want me to give them another location, but I don't know, because Barry hasn't got back to me that yet. But he's still working for GHI. I don't think they've been filming lately, though. He's been out doing other jobs at the moment. He's been on holiday, but he's been into these Phoenix lights and stuff like that, so he looks into loads of different stuff. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing working with them. It was good working with Most Haunted as well. They were nice. I mean, Carl, Yvette and Stuart are very nice people.
Derek Cora as well.
Right, Derek's okay. Derek's a really nice, down-to-earth bloke, right? It's I think he's portrayed on TV. If you meet him, he is as he is on TV.
He seems like a lovely bloke.
Well, I was supposed to work with him in Gower Heritage, you see. They did Ghost Towns. Remember Ghost Towns? And they did the tattoo place in Swansea, and they'd asked me would I go to Gower Heritage, because I've done programs in Gower Heritage as well. Would I be prepared to do a program on the paranormal with them? And the problem was I was working on Most Haunted. I was doing a live in Llanelli with them. Yeah. So I couldn't go with them, could I?
No.
But apparently on that night, after he went back to the Marriott Hotel, they did carry him in there. But what he said about Gower Heritage doesn't make sense. Because some of the stuff that's been seen there that he wouldn't know about, he did mention, so the tall dark figure that's been seen there, for instance, which we think is a priest or a monk.
Yeah.
He's been seen loads of times, but yeah, he's a really nice bloke, Derek, and he's a really nice bloke too. I've worked with Ian Norman as well. He's a really nice chap as well.
Okay, that's
Ian was, we did a program from Swansea Museum with Ian, and I've worked a few with him. over the years, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, GHI, I reckon, yeah, really good, you know. Brilliant.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Geraint.
That's no problem.
And it's a pleasure to meet you.
Alright, if you want to come to Marnham Castle, you want it.
Very interesting conversations we've had so far tonight.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in, viewers. And we'll see you next week, usual time, Thursday, 7 o'clock. Okay?